Hello and how are you? Thank you for joining us again. It's the Property Talk brought to you by Mirembe Villas, where we get to discuss issues that are close to the heart of real estate, because that's what we're about. Now, joining me on the set all the way from Ohio, right?
Yes, that's right.
Ohio. That's in the US. Mr. Steve Brown from the National Association of Realtors. It's good to have you in Uganda.
It's good to be
First
here.
time in Uganda?
First time, yes, sir.
Now, some of you might remember an interview we heard a couple of years ago where we hosted Sylvia Lucchini. We shall be having another chat with her from IHC Global. And one of the things I'll be asking her was why her continued sustainable love for Africa and Uganda specifically. But now, all of a sudden, Sylvia has introduced another brother of ours who's come to Africa, to Uganda. And it's your first time in Uganda.
It is. My first time in Africa.
Whoa.
Yes.
What's been the experience like, or what was your first impression of Africa like, or Uganda like?
I think my first impression was how friendly the people were. Incredibly hospitable, welcoming, very polite.
Yeah.
That was my first impression.
Yeah.
And of course, the country, the weather is hot.
Yeah.
And it's, of course, I'm coming from a winter climate
Yeah.
right now. So at home we have snow. And so this is kind of a welcomed relief from that weather.
What did you make of our real estate from the developments that you have seen just from afar?
I think that I think I've been impressed, number one, with the incredible growth that you can see in the new buildings as you go along and see so many buildings under construction. That's very impressive. The traffic is also impressive. But you know what is amazing about the traffic is how really polite people are, even though the streets are just absolutely jammed with traffic. But it's really been a wonderful experience thus far.
So you came in here by invitational partnership with the Area Real Estate Association of Uganda,
Right.
and you had a seminar that I managed to pop in, and some of the stuff you were discussing was quite really amazing. But the first question I want to ask you is, why did you come to Uganda this particular time?
Well, IHC Global, who's an international organization, a spin-off from the National Association of Realtors, NAR. NAR is the largest trade association in the world. We have 1.4 million members, and a part of our mission as Realtors is to work with countries around the world in helping establish better business practices, a very high standard of professionalism, code of ethics that will help build the business here in Uganda and also build the industry, build the profession. One part of our mission is to reach out to our brothers and sisters around the world who are also in real estate and also, and most importantly, help the real estate consumer.
Yeah.
And so we're here to share our business models and that have been effective, number one. Number two, also a code of ethics, subscribing to the highest ethical standard so that when the consumer wants to buy a property or sell a property, they can trust that real estate agent, especially if they're associated with a association like Area.
I picked a lot of interest in the leadership aspect, and I know I missed that session, and I'm keen on hearing what you have to say, because when you look at much of our real estate in Africa or in Uganda right now, we talk about urbanization and planning for urbanization, because when we talk about real estate as it evolves, it's got to have thought leaders that plan for it.
Yes.
Now, I'm very keen to understand what your perspective is when it comes to the leadership direction we ought to be taking, not only to run successful real estate brands, but even in leading real estate or infrastructure development to the direction that we would want it to be, whether it's for Uganda or Africa as a continent. What would be your perspective?
My perspective would be starting really at base one, and that is as a real estate profession, that we would understand who we are individually, who we are as a person, feeling more comfortable in, if you will, our skin, as we put it. Once we understand who we are, you can bring forward an authenticity that conveys a certain power that inspires people to listen and hopefully to follow. A leader ultimately has to have that vision of where he or she wants to go, and that vision has to be based upon what's good for the association, but also, and especially in real estate, what's always best for the consumer.
Yeah.
And so our leadership training is always based upon helping the real estate professionals here feel more comfortable in who they are as people. Real estate, at the end of the day, is a personal relationship with the consumer and his or her real estate agent. And it's in the power of that relationship that good, profitable, sound decisions can be made.
But if you have any question, you can send it through, and we'll find a way of getting in touch with Sylvia or Steve to try to be able to address it even when they are long gone from Africa. Now, many people watching us right now have been victims of land scams or property scams and all kinds of sorts of things.
Yeah.
Area Uganda has tried its best to try to professionalize the industry, but you'll find that we'll have so many brokers or agents operating independently, and they feel like they don't need to belong to any organization, so they're accountable to nobody. So back to leadership, you're talking about accountability systems that don't exist. How best, to somebody that is watching right now, how best do we reach an understanding of how the code of ethics should operate to somebody who's watching, who is an agent or a player in the industry, and to the consumer themselves?
Well, I think the consumer needs to understand that not all real estate agents are created equal. Some have bettered themselves. Some have belonged to the association, such as Area, that subscribes to a higher standard of ethics, that these people raise their right hand and swear that they will abide, to be truthful, to be disclosing. Or people were buying properties that were not even for sale. They were just misled continually. That drove a group of professionals together and said, we have got to separate ourselves from this whole group of people out there saying they're real estate agents. And what you will find is, as more people own their own property, the more they invest in the community, the crime goes down,
Yeah.
school attendance, and everything good begins to happen.
Yes.
When people have an ownership in their own property. And so my dream for Uganda would be that people would realize the benefit of and see the benefit of home ownership, but they will only see that if they start with working with a good real estate agent.
And what are your parting thoughts to viewers?
Gosh, my parting thoughts to the viewers would be, Uganda is a beautiful country. We have had an opportunity to see many cultural events, and it's just been honestly breathtaking. Are your people? They're so friendly, they're so warm. In our discussions, and I've done these meetings literally all over the world, I have never been in discussions with people, with real estate agents who are more thoughtful, more insightful, more educated than the folks that I've had the privilege of working
Awesome.
with today.
Did you eat some matoke?
What's that?
Did you eat some matoke?
No, what's that?
You've not eaten matoke?
No.
And you're going to leave Uganda without
Well,
eating
I
matoke?
don't know. What is
Matoke would be a
matoke?
staple fruit. It's banana.
Oh,
Yeah, it's banana and it's cooked.
you know what? I've been so busy. We've hardly had a chance to
Oh,
eat.
no, you need to.
But we'll
I want
get
to tell
some.
Sylvia you can't live
Okay.
without eating matoke. See, we'll be in touch.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
My pleasure.
And it's the Property Talk, of course, brought to you by Mirembe Villas. And I hope you've gotten a little bit of an insight in terms of how the US operates in terms of real estate. And of course, we'll be sharing with you a little more information on that. And we'll have that interview as well with Sylvia to give us a little more.